Welcome to Introduction to Video 3. In this video for Fundamentals of SQL, we're going to cover where clauses.
Within the sales orders example database as shown on the screen. So first, let's review by selecting all the columns, select everything from customers and hit F5. Now you see down below we have everyone, all the columns and all the rows. Select is selecting columns, but now we're going to filter on the rows. We've talked about columns and choosing a couple columns between at least one to all of them. Now let's filter on the rows. Now let's say your manager asks you to find all the customers and all the information with those customers within an area code of 425. They have an area code 425. So the way to do that is, okay, and he doesn't care, he wants all the data, all the columns, all the attributes. Okay, so you write this where clause, appropriate enough, it's called where. Then you say cust area code. There's some number of ways you can do it. In equals 425. Okay. Now let's hit execute. As you can see, we have now customer areas 425. Okay. And he says then he comes back and says let's refine that further. And area code of 425 and the city of Redmond. So we say, okay. Now you write the where clause only once. You say and cust city, hit tab, equals Redmond. Now we could add further if you wanted to do customer ID equal to 1001 or 1005. You could put another and operator. You could write do as many as you like. Remember, where comes only once. Now look, why is 425 without single quotes and Redmond in single quotes? It's because if you look over here, and we haven't gone through data types yet, but we will. It's because Redmond is a string called a string literal, or it's a character, and it needs to go into single quotes. Customer area code, on the other hand, is an integer, in this case a small int, this data type, which basically means there's only, certain number of, doesn't go to a very large number, but but it's an integer, so you don't have to put it in single quotes. There is an alternative way of writing this, is to use in instead of equal. Let's say in, you say in, then you put parentheses, and in gives us the same result. Usually use in though if you have more than one area code or more than one city or whatever your variable is. Let's say you get another assignment and let's make a new query to illustrate it, but let's copy over what we have. We're going to a new query. I want to copy this over. I want to keep it, but I don't want to. Control C. Plop it down. We have a new query. He only wants to see. Now you got new instructions. Your manager wants to see the customer ID, the customer city, customer ID and customer city, where, let's get rid of this stuff, where the state is in Washington or Oregon. So you'd say in WA, comma, here's how you put multiple in Oregon. Okay, now let's hit this. Now these are places, let's say I had to confirm that we got the right state. Let's go back up and add the customer. Scroll down, hit tab. So we're only seeing, if you scroll down to the bottom of the results set, you're only going to see Washington and Oregon, right? So we've used this in operator with our where clause to filter on the rows, to selected the columns, and we filtered on the rows to only extract Washington and Oregon. Okay, that's a use of. Now let's say to put a twist on it, there's in and there's also, say your boss says, I want all the customer IDs, cities that are not in California. Okay. Any of our states except for California. Exclude California. So in that case, is a convenient way of doing it is to say not in California. Let's hit the execute. That's also order by cust state. So if you look at the customer states, we've pulled Oregon, Texas, Washington. Okay. Now in this case, there's only 4 states in this database, but there could be 30, 40 states in a database, and you don't want to write in with all those states. Sometimes it's easier to say not in California. So there we've used in and not in. Now let's use an operator that's called the like operator. Like operators uses the power of a wildcard to generate your data and your rows without knowing the complete spelling or name. Okay. Let's say And if we can go back to take a look at our database again. Let me skip around. I want to go check out my database again. Hit execute. So I'm looking at the database below. And there's a city called Woodinville in Washington. But you don't know how to spell Woodinville, you don't remember. But you know it begins with a W and it's in Washington. So it's down here called Woodinville in our data set. So let's go ahead and pull all the columns from the customers. Let's get rid of the Redmond here. Where the cust city, we're going to say it's like you'll only remember it starts with wood. Let's get the wildcard character of %sign. Now this is telling SQL to bring back all the columns from customers where the customer city begins with wood. And this wildcard is going to pick up back anything after wood. So that's it. So it brings back Woodinville. You didn't have to. Or as another example. Now this %sign can work before and after, and it's very handy if you're just trying to pull. If you only know of a large string, you only know a certain segment of the string. For instance, if you look down below, the customer street address has box in it. Let's try to pull all the customer street addresses that have box in it. But you don't know if box is at the beginning or at the end or if it's in the middle. So what we could do is, let's put in customer street address. Just pull it over here from the side. And let's get rid of is like. We are looking for the word box in customer street address. So we'll use wildcards on both sides of the word box. So let's just select the customer street address. We don't need other things. Cust street address from customers. Okay, gave 2 cases of it. And it's probably just the same customer twice, but it's out there with box. That way we were able to bring back the customer street address without knowing the full address. We just knew that box was in it. That's an illustration of the in operator, the not in operator and the like operator. Thank you.